What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. This is a special edition of Kings and Dreams. Typically, I don't stream on Sundays, but every once in a while, I will do that from time to time. So, one of the things that I don't want to say one of the things. So, what we are going to be talking about today is more or less when it comes to the mind, body, and also your finances. It's so important to have the mental stability, the mental capability, right? And then also build yourself up to have that physical capability. And then also about finances, right? Finances is extremely important. And I think that all of us, we can learn something from this brother here that I'm going to be pulling up on the panel in a minute. And so has a lot of education on all three of these areas. And so we're just going to tap into those three things that we are going to be talking about today, man. And I just appreciate you all for watching me on a Sunday. If you got the notification seeing that I'm live, it is not a joke. I actually am live. But in the meantime, let me just bring up my guests. What's going on, man?
How's it going, man? I feel honored to do a special Sunday broadcast, So thank you so much for having me on. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on and kind of give you all a little bit of insight to what's been happening here is that Julian and I, we have been trying to get this going for a little while now. So our schedules, been kind of hit and miss or whatever, but we both have some time now. And so I have about 90 minutes before I check out the new Black Panther movie with my son. So good vibes, man. But anyways, this is more or less about you, brother. Now, first of all, just let the people know a little bit about who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So currently, or should we go back into the past? Do we need an origin story?
Yes, we're gonna do the origin story. Yes.
Okay.
Since I'm watching a Marvel movie, let's go back to the origin.
Okay, so the origin story is I'd probably say one of the transformative moments for me was I played basketball in high school and got offered for like junior college, but I ended up taking the 4-year academic just because I learned I'm not going to the NBA. I'm 5'11", and if you're going to be 5'11" and try to play D1 and then eventually go to NBA, you need to be super fast. You need to be Allen Iverson speed, and I did not have that. So that was an easy decision. But really, on the basketball court, there was this older gentleman that was running up and down the court with us, and I was just amazed by this because I come from a family that's not that healthy, and my father had diabetes. His mother had diabetes. I had a lot of aunts on dialysis. So for me, when you got to 30, that's when I started to see that life was going downhill, and to see this guy that's much older shatter that paradigm that I had in my head was really surprising to me. And so I got to talking to him afterwards and everything, and I didn't change my life after that. I didn't have one of those Rocky montage or those Marvel montage where you just come full circle. But what I think he did was he placed a seed in me. He placed a seed in my head, and that thing started to sprout as I got to college, and I started to take care of my health more. And part of that was due to women. I'll admit, part of that was due to women. But then I learned that I still had other things to work on. But so as we go along, and I go through that, I really get enamored with health. And so I start with physical therapy, and then I eventually decide I want to go to medical school. So I go to medical school. I go to New York for that. So I'm in New York for a year, and that was a very good time. I love New York. And so after that year, though, I met some people up there that changed my life again. And so when I came back home, I thought about it, and I was like, I'm not going to go back to school, and I'm just going to take a chance on a bunch of things that I wanted to do. And so skipping over a lot of things, one of the things I wanted to do was write. And I wanted to write for various magazines. I didn't have any writing experience, but I had a best friend who is a writer. And so I just started to learn the craft and learn how to write. And I've been blessed now. In the past, I don't do that anymore, but I wrote for a lot of different business publications like Inc. and Entrepreneur. And also I was building a health business and coaching people. So I merged two worlds together, and just over time, I have just continually evolved into different phases as I learn different things.
Okay, absolutely. Well, you said a lot there, right? So let's kind of break into that a little bit. Now, where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, all right. So you are originally from Tennessee, down
hmm
south, right? Okay. Now you mentioned that. There were like health problems in your family. You come from the history of that, and typically that has been one of the um Achilles heel, if you will, when it comes to, especially in our community, right? You
hmm
know, we that story is all too often, right? You know,
hmm
so someone's mother, someone's grandmother, someone's niece, someone's nephew, right? So I completely get that. All right. Now, moving forward to before what you're currently doing, but you stated that you were playing basketball and then you saw this older gentleman on the court, and that kind of was one of the things that inspired you to go into to go into the healthcare field, right? So now, kind of impact that story a little bit more. So when you saw this gentleman, what were the stories that you decided to take?
Well, it was very basic advice, funny enough, and
Yeah,
basically he was, you take you control what you eat, you control if you're going to move your body, you control what thoughts you allow into your head, you control what comes out of your mouth. You can speak life or death with your tongue. You can speak good things or bad things. And so um, I started to think a little bit about the law of attraction. If people are familiar with that, is that you oftentimes I saw so many people growing up and they're like, I'm tired of being sick. I'm tired of being sick. And if you think about it, they're saying I'm tired of being sick. So they're continually affirming that they are sick. And so whatever you're affirming, you are going to get more of. So that made me very cognizant of just the words I use on a daily basis. And
right,
I'm still working on that. It's a practice that never stops. Never stops. But even then, that those were the basic things that I actually have more control over my destiny than what is led on. Because you hear a lot of times is that we're just a big bone family, or it runs in our genes and there's nothing we can do about it. So you hear all these things where they're basically giving away their personal power to some external force. And so I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And so I think that's why I'm a little of a bit of a control freak to a certain extent. And
mhm,
I like the feeling of control. So I understand that I there's not much in this world I can control, but I do like the feeling of control. And I can control my health. I can control my behaviors on a daily basis. I can control how I treat people. And so that guy, just to sum all that up, is it's a big picture. It's like a system when we think about our health.
right. No, you are absolutely correct, and yeah, and I was a part of that, like making those excuses, if you will, like, oh, like, yeah, we got health problems in the family or whatever the case is and stuff like that. And one of the reasons why, like, I like the space that we're in, because we hold ourselves accountable, but then we have other people that say, hey, you know what, like, no, I'm going to hold you accountable, but you have to hold yourself accountable first, right? So it's like, all right, you and I are hanging out, and and I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm gonna eat like 8 pieces of fried chicken, and you like, bro, like,
Yeah.
all right, if you're gonna eat those 8 pieces of fried chicken, like, you gotta have to do me like 2 or 3 days, something to work that off. You know what I mean? So I think it's just very important for all of us to hold each other accountable. And so I love the fact that you have mentioned, like, people would give those excuses and you would say, like, no, that's not sufficient enough. That's not for me. Right. And so so kind of moving forward to that, and you mentioned that you wanted to go into the medical field, right? And
hmm
so let's start with that, your journey there.
Yeah. So I decided about medical school toward the end of college. So probably my fourth year. So I ended up staying a fifth year just to finish out the prerequisites. And so my degree was in international business. I originally wanted to be one of those idea people that worked at like an advertising firm.
Okay.
And so I think it's a couple rom-coms. I forgot the movie, but I thought that's what marketing and international business was,
Right.
where I can just, go to cool parties and just be an idea guy. I like that. But then I learned early on in like an internship that most people start in sales and things like that. I was like, I'm good. I'm good on that. So I kept the degree, did the prerequisites. And so I didn't necessarily have the highest GPA compared to most medical students getting in school. But what I did have is I'm a well-rounded individual. And so there's an essay part where you can display that and give your rhyme and reasons and everything. So
Right.
a lot of people are very one-dimensional, whereas I'm interested in a lot of things. And so that was to my advantage. So I think that helped me. So I move up to New York. It's the first time in New York. And anyone who's from down south and then goes up north, it's a completely different world. It's a completely different world. Like everything's so much faster. And I thought the people were rude at first, honestly. But I eventually adopted that and came back, and people thought I was rude when I came back home. But
Right.
But yeah, New York was the energy is just so oh man, I still can close my eyes and think about the energy that New York has.
Right.
And I pretty much walked the whole city. But during that time, like when I was in school though, so we had lectures online, and I didn't like going. I stopped going to class because it wasn't the best use of time in my opinion. And honestly, I wanted to see the city more. And I didn't have the typical college experience that most people have. So I'm a fairly conservative guy. So I did not go out and get wild with partying and everything. I was just reading and listening to music and learning about health. So this was kind of my college experience in New York.
Right.
And so as I do that, I go to these different happy hours. And I still remember this one's the Lower East Side. It's the Yucca Bar. And,
Oh yeah.
And there's a girl there, and we just get to talking, and she's traveling and she's working as well. And I'm like, man, that sounds pretty cool. So you're telling me you're traveling, you got this freedom, this autonomy, but you're also doing something that you really enjoy. And I'm like, wow. And up until that point, I would say school was easy for me. And so I was doing this, and plus everyone was telling you, oh, this is great. You're going to be the first one. I'm first generation. Neither parent went to college. So, you think you're doing the right thing. You're following a blueprint.
Right.
But something inside of me always knew that this is not exactly what I wanted to do. It would be cool to be a surgeon, but there was just something else yearning. And that conversation really sealed the deal. And so I remember the next week there's a 3-hour anatomy exam. And I'm sitting in the middle of the exam. I remember looking up. I got a protein shake and coffee because we can bring stuff in there because it's 3 hours. So I'm looking over a lot of the other classmates. They look very nervous, sweating and stuff. And I just zone out. I'm just like, man, this ain't it. I'm not in the right place at all.
Right.
And so I didn't know what to do then. I'm not going to just quit because you already took the loan and everything out for tuition and everything. But I was like, I'm going to finish the year out. And then, like I said, that's just when I decided just to not go back. And it wasn't the best response. I didn't really get a favorable response from no one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I tell you, it takes. First of all, it takes a lot of gumption to like when you go to New York and actually stay in New York. I'm a New Yorker myself. That's why I kind of laughed because it is a hustle and bustle. And to be transparent, I don't know. I would say we're in the middle. So we are a hybrid of a combination of being direct and then rude. Mm-hmm. So there is some rudeness there, but we are direct because it's like everywhere we need to go, we have to get there quickly. And I believe it's because there's so many people that live here, right? So you have people that come from different countries, different states, like how you mentioned how you moved up from Nashville. Like, man, if you ask like how, like you have a room of 100 people, how many people were born and raised in New York? It's gonna be crazy. Like half that room is gonna be like, I'm from Japan, I'm from Atlanta, I'm from wherever, all over the world. It's just crazy. So I completely get that. And then
that's where I kind of actually got introduced to even like international stuff, because that's what kind of planted the seed
Right.
for me to take my first international trip
Right.
was New York, because I met women and just people in general from
Yeah.
all over, and I was
Right.
like, wow, I didn't. I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't know. I was like, so I was kind of shocked. I would say
Right.
the first 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, was a rude awakening for me. It was a rude awakening for me. Like, some guy tried to hustle me and sell me. I was just trying to be nice, right? So some guy on the street say, "Hey," so I thought he just wanted to ask a question or talk, but he was trying to sell me something. So you learn
Mhm.
those things.
Oh yeah.
But after that, I actually think it's I prefer that style of communication. It's much more efficient.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's very true. I do like directiveness because you get straight to the point, right? I definitely like that. Definitely like that. And so let me just jump into some of these comments here, and then I'm gonna jump back into you finishing out your school year, and then going into your current transition. All right. A shout out to my moderator, Felicia Jordan. She says, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Kings and Dreams channel. Please wipe your feet at the door. Absolutely. Make sure that you guys are liking the video and also sharing the video. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, please make sure that you are subscribed. Also, subscribe to my guest. Recently started a new YouTube channel. So please make sure that you subscribe to his channel. Felicia, when you have a moment, can you just drop the guest link? Maybe you might have beat me to it. So if you did, I apologize. But yeah, shout out to the panel. My brother Infinite Growth TV. Definitely make sure you guys are subscribed to his channel. I actually got his video and I playing in my background here. Make sure that you guys are getting the likes up. Yes, good morning, good afternoon. CB Passport strengthened. Hey there, Kings and Dreams. Yes, what is going on? Salute, salute, salute. As you guys know, I am officially monetized now, so you can actually send me a super chat if you would like, or cash apps. Either way is fine. I appreciate the love and support. Let's see. Felicia, I need to talk with you, please. Oh, okay. The secret is in the system. Absolutely correct. That was to you.
Oh, okay.
any thoughts on that?
I'm still new to
No worries, no
to
worries,
videos.
no worries, no worries. Yeah, but so Infinite Growth TV, he was saying that he agrees. The secret is in the system, from what you had stated earlier.
Yeah, it's I mean, everything pretty much breaks down to a system if you think about it. Financial, health, and I think even relationships, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we gonna we gonna impact it. Don't worry. Beach Bum TV, salute to you. I appreciate you for watching. Let's see. Guys, if you are a first-time traveler, or if you travel, if you're a first-time traveler, period, or traveling to Medellin, Colombia, and you don't have boots on the ground, make sure that you please reach out to me for a consultation. You see my email there listed below. You can also contact me via Instagram as well, and I appreciate all the love and support. Charles Explores, let's go. Appreciate you, man. What it do, Kings? I'm in Cali hanging with you who? Oh, I think you might be talking about D, Charles Explores. But yeah, man, if you're hanging out with D, man, tell her I said what's up, man, and salute. All right, so so back to your executive health. So when you said that you had a 3 hour anatomy exam, and you basically were like, oh, like I really don't want to do this, but you also said, hey, I don't want to quit school, right? So I don't want to quit school. You already have the loan now, but that's not your passion. So now how were you able to keep your concentration, if you will? Because there's some people that would just drop out of school and just not move forward. I, for one, am one of the people that did that. And just a little bit of a quick story of me. I wanted to be a computer engineer, but what I didn't realize was that like my skill set has always been networking and marketing. Like when I was talking to you guys on Thursday, the meeting that we had,
Mhm.
and so like I have been, throwing events and things like that since I was 14 years old. So getting these people to come before like the Instagram and social media, you actually had to use word of mouth and actually physically hand people a flyer. So I would don't know what made me think that I would be like satisfied as being an engineer, but then I left school for about like 10 years, and then I went back into it and got my degree in administration and marketing. So like what made you want to stick with it? So that's my question to you.
Well, I mean, it was the second semester, and nothing really was going to change. It's not like you're gonna get money back in when it's the middle of February and you got a couple more months left. So
Right.
I knew I could at least stick the first year out and then make a
Okay.
decision then. And even then, it was still tough to swallow. But I typically think about everything has a plus and minus to it. Everything has a cause and effect, or an action and reaction to it. So I
Mhm.
thought about, okay, if I don't go back and become a doctor, what's the downside to that? What's the upside? And so one of the things I hate is regret. You ever meet those people who are much, much older and everything's just bitterness or just regret or missed opportunities? And those things just make me feel very uncomfortable. And I didn't want to be that person. I knew that the government will always be glad to give you money if you needed that to go back to school. But when you're younger and you don't have as many responsibilities, that's the time when you can be most aggressive. That's the time when you can take as many chances because you don't have a family or anything depending on you. And so that made the decision easier. And also I was willing to think about some of the trade-offs of maybe I will not be able to go out and have some of the fun that maybe certain people do my age as well because I'm building and creating something, but that's okay. But 20 years out, how do I want life to be 20 years out? And so I first started with looking 20 years out before doing anything else. And that made the decision easier, even if none of my family or friends agreed with it. But I kind of understand why they didn't because they were, no one ever knew that I enjoyed some of these things. No one knew that I enjoyed writing. No one knew that I was interested in business and entrepreneurship or any of that stuff. I kept that stuff a secret. I was just following the blueprint of what I thought it meant to be a success, and that was just to get degrees and go to school. And so I understand that from them.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I completely agree with that. Like follow your passion because you yeah, I mean, there's things that we do, right? And we're not gonna like every single thing, but you want to love what you do. I love networking. I love interacting with different people, and I love making those connections, right? And so for me, like yes, you probably would have been a successful surgeon, but would you have been happy with it? You know, like yeah, because the thing is like, oh yes, I can make a whole lot of money, but like a lot of people who make a lot of money aren't necessarily happy,
Sure.
and it takes a lot of courage to do what you did to kind of make that transition as opposed to going to the norm. Okay, so I get my degree, I become a successful doctor, not just a doctor, a surgeon, right? And so you're probably living in New York, you're probably working for one of the top hospitals and all that. You have all these accolades, if you will, but is Julian the person? Are you happy with what you're doing in a day-to-day basis, right? And so I definitely commend you for understanding, having that awareness with you. And so having that awareness with you to actually make that transition.
Yeah, it's just, I think the thing is, if you can always just keep the long term in mind, I think your
Right.
decision making is going to be just so much better, just so much better. Because the funny thing is, if you, I mean, you go to school because those people you got to deal with insurance. You also you have a lot of student loans, and it's not a guarantee that you're going to get placements, even because there's certain exams that you have to take after the second year, then the fourth year. And with the way the world is now, with so many different options, you can pretty much extend beyond even what doctors make. There's a lot of people just from YouTube who who make way more than a lot of the surgeons out here, and they have half the stress while they're still enjoying their life. Now, maybe the route was different, but the destination was still the same in terms of finding financial stability, and finding a good vocation that can provide the life that you want. So it's just keeping the long term in mind. Now, it's hard. I mean, I'm not gonna lie with that, because I remember I had when I first left school. I remember one year I went from medical school one year to the very next year I'm working in a call center, and so that was quite jarring. And then to hear people, say, "Wow, you sure you made the right decision? You sure you made the right decision about that? You were in school and now you're getting paid. I think then you were getting paid like $10 an hour, something like that." But it taught me a lot of lessons there as well. Everything can teach you lessons if you kind of keep your eyes open.
No, you're right about that. I completely agree with that, because there are some people that, especially with YouTube, you can make a lot of money, man, a lot of money on here. So definitely, you can make more money than uh, a surgeon, right? But I understand that.
There's one
Oh
other
no, go
thing.
ahead, do
Oh
your
yeah.
thing.
So
This,
here's
this is
another
your
important
time,
thing.
brother.
So I talked to a couple of doctors, and because with the way the world's going, and because part of what I do now is still involved in that, and they told me you make the right decision because you're probably going to be a lot more dangerous or effective, as they said, outside the system than in the system,
Right,
because there's restrictions and limitations that I don't necessarily have,
right.
and so
No, that's true. That's
yeah.
true. That's true. I mean, I've been in the corporate world. I've been in the corporate world for many years, and for like people who are starting to see like my channel grow, they tell me things like, man, like, and I'm not saying anything too crazy on my channel, right? But I know that some of the topics that I go into can be uh sensitive, if you will. But
Mhm.
the thing is that, like, I know that I'm good. I know that I'm good in the corporate world, but I know that I'm probably better without it, because I'm talking about what I'm passionate about. Like, I'm doing what I'm passionate about, right?
Mhm.
So I completely agree with that standpoint. Now when you started to actually make this transition, what were some of the challenges that you had come across?
First and foremost, it's confidence.
Right.
First and foremost, it's confidence, and then also I would say identity. So for me,
Yeah.
even with I invested in mentorship, and I still do now. And one of the consistent things for me is just trusting myself, trusting my instinct. And the thing that I think comes from academia is that school teaches you how to follow directions really well and to stay in line. And I don't mean it as a slight, but it just does. You follow said guidelines, and then you get your result and you go. And so for me, it was learning to just be outside that and just trust my instinct. On a practical level, I had no idea about business. I have no idea. I know a lot of information because I read books a lot and I went to school a lot, so I know a lot of things. But s- I wasn't prepared for the real world. Even like being a business major,
Hmm.
they tell you like the 4 P's of marketing, and then just information to take a test. But
Right.
the real world's nothing like that.
Nope.
So I wasn't even a person who knew how to really communicate with people. Like what we're doing now, years ago, I would not be doing this because it would terrify me. I would just feel so awkward. But I
Yeah.
took myself to Toastmasters and just went out in the street and started saying hello to people and having a basic conversation, and then
Right.
reading books on that, and then watching different videos on YouTube on people doing speeches and people just talking and communicating. But a lot of those soft skills I had no idea about. Also, when you're in your mid to late 20s, I was very narcissistic to a certain standpoint in terms of, since I had a lot of knowledge that I thought I knew everything. So one of the big mistakes is I was working at a gym, personal training. This is before any online stuff. And I wasn't getting paid a lot because they're taking a lot of that. But what I didn't realize was that they're filtering me, the clients. I don't have to do anything but show up and do my job. But my sales managers, who were awesome at sales and communication and people relationships, and I left too early when I should have just stayed there and swallowed the bullet of, not, maybe I don't get paid as much, or maybe I need to go get another job as well, but I can learn this excellent communication and sales skills on what it really takes to grow a business and everything. So my ego was a huge problem, and I didn't have anyone to check my ego, because a lot of people around me were either yes people, or I can just talk around them and they can check me. So that was two of the biggest things that, or a couple of the biggest things that I had to learn early on. And so I needed to get humble, which I did get humbled.
Right. No, absolutely, man. I mean, definitely, like the self-doubt thing, that's so important, because when we are, because typically, right, we're programmed to go to school, programmed to get these degrees, and then put into place. And I don't want to slight anyone who does do that. If you do that, that's your prerogative. But what I will say is that, like, it does take a lot more heart for someone to actually say, no, I don't want to conform with the norm. I'm actually going to do something that I love to do, not something that can just make me money, pay bills, and then, essentially pass on, right? And that's what we have been programmed to do a lot in society. And I know that you were trying to say it in a clean way, but I'm gonna say it a little bit more spicier. But I knew where you were you were getting at, right? I knew where you were getting at, and that, that comfortability factor. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So that's one big thing I would say, man. Just kudos to you in order for doing that. And so, what are some of the pluses that you have seen? Because I mentioned the minuses. What are some of the pluses that you have seen? And then after you get to that, I'm going to jump into some more of the comments, because I see some more people in the chat.
Just the growth. So, I mean, that event, and then also, my father passed a few years ago. Those are two things that just now I just feel, limitless, and it's I think I needed to be extremely humbled to know that I could withstand anything, no matter what. And also, just that I think a lot of people don't have endurance, and so I've gotten into endurance training as well. And if you just keep going, It's very lonely at the beginning. It's very lonely when you are breaking out of a mold, when you are separating yourself. It's very lonely, and even as you get older, you start to even grow apart from even a lot of people closest to you. You're still friends and everything, but you're just living such a different life. There's just such different things you're thinking about. At least for me, I'm thinking about, a lot of these books, you can, no matter what you think about them, you can see things like the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts. You see all these elite name families and everything, and they got the guy on the wall who started it all. And that's just always interests me, that like I got the potential to be that guy that, 100, well, not 100. I hope we're still here in 100 years from now. So maybe 200 years from now, you can be that guy on the wall that really started it all. And it's a blessing. And I just think it's an honor to, because I was pretty close with both my grandfathers as well, and even my uncles and everything, to hear that the opportunity that you have to literally you can pretty much do whatever you want. I don't know if you're going to get the result that you want, but you at least have the opportunity. I can at least get on the playing field. And I don't take that for granted. And I think that's one of the pluses. And then the people that you meet. I've met so many people just through when I was more in my journalistic career, when I was doing that, mostly the writing. I met so many interesting people just from that opened so many doors of just relationships and learning. And then even with just podcasting and now with YouTube, you meet so many different people. Whereas if you were just consistently just with the corporate route, which is nothing wrong with it, because I think the corporate route, what people forget to mention is that the corporate route is consistent income that you can then leverage that capital to either, to build up your wealth, or to even invest in your business and move faster. So bootstrapping sounds good, but it's a lot stressful. It's a lot more stressful compared to having a nest egg and then maybe staking it out for a year or two, and then you have a lot more capital to do a lot of different things with. But that's a side tangent. But I think the pluses is, for me, it's the confidence and the growth in myself, the belief. I was very unsure in myself for a lot of my life, and this is just giving me the confidence, even before the results came. But just that the sheer fact that I can stick with something over and over and do it with no results. You're writing. I remember writing, and zero people or zero responses. I went a year before getting published anywhere. I went months without working with a client or anything, but I remember still waking up, putting clothes on, doing the process, regardless of if any result is going to come to that fruition for that day.
Absolutely, man. Man, I'm telling you, man. I hope people who are watching and will watch in the future can get inspired by this, because it takes a lot of courage to do what you're doing and continue to do what you do. Let me just jump into the chat here really quickly, and then I have some more questions for you. Again, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Kings and Dreams. Hit that notification bell. All right. So Infinite Growth TV says doctors trade time of life for money, high stress, and cannot have their own beliefs without a committee deciding what is correct medicine. Man, what do you say to that one? Because Infinite Growth, he hit that on the head.
Oh man, let's see. Cannot have their own beliefs without a committee deciding. Oh man, it's a lot of bureaucracy. It's I understand why, because I was shocked. A lot of the things I remember going into a classroom, and like I brought some kind of meal with like a bunch of protein or something in there, and it was eggs. And this is just a minor example. And the teacher was like, I don't know if you should be eating all that eggs, and because of the cholesterol on the yolk. And I was just, and that's very outdated information. So I will, because I have friends, and I feel for them, because on one hand, the way the system is set up, doctors you only have like 10 minutes with each patient. You don't really have a lot of time. They're so inundated with people that it's hard to do continual education because they're so stressed out. So the last thing they want to do when they get off work is to continue to study. So that's one thing. And and this goes a long time back, I think, also with the certain people made investments to sway the industry to move a certain way. And you see that pan out. Even currently today, is that certain systems at play invested years ago. And that's why we have a certain system. So he's right, but it's a messy. The U.S. healthcare is just very messy. It's very messy. I don't have the answer on how to completely solve it, because on one hand, the way it's set up, there's a lot of innovation here in the U.S. because of the way it's emphasized, but also you don't really get help until you're sick. So it's a catch-22. But I agree though that there's a lot of groupthink. There's a lot of groupthink.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And most doctors do that. The only doctors that don't is if you can start to open up your own practice. So I know a few doctors who did that, and eventually a lot of doctors, the ones I know now, they don't even deal with insurance. They're cash only, which, I mean, I get it, but it kind of sucks because a lot of people are left out then. But I mean, they have to make a living as well.
Gotcha. All right, let me just jump into he had a follow-up comment. licenses are golden handcuffs.
I like that. I like that. Because they can take it away. I think over the last few years we've seen I think we've seen doctors, some of the doctors, I don't know if it's got publicized or not, but for saying certain things, and they lost their medical privileges, even if they were like published in so many different journals, and no matter how distinguished they were, if you went against it. So that's that's hits the nail on the coffin.
Man, so doctors are getting canceled too. Cancel culture's out for everybody, huh?
Cancels coaches everywhere, but I think it's just cancel culture is a very weird thing. It's a very weird thing. Um, you know, during the whole pandemic, I pretty much, because my father passed at the very beginning of the pandemic, not from the virus or nothing like that. But my
Got it.
father was he was on dialysis for over 10 years, and he had diabetes and everything, amputations and all that, and
Yeah.
and so I pretty much was this in my own. I was in space. I don't know. I don't. That year flew by, but when I actually got back in the world and saw what was going on, I cancel culture is a very weird thing, and I don't know if it's because I don't know. I don't understand cancel culture. I have no idea. Like a lot of this stuff, I don't understand because I kind of
Yeah.
stay in my own little world for the most part.
Yeah. Well, I could get into it, but this is not the stream for it. This is not the stream for it. But trust me, I'll
Yeah,
I'll, I'll
yeah.
I'll bring you back, and then I'll expound,
You
man.
can you can educate me on that. Like I'm still learning. I'm learning a lot of this stuff. What is it? The manosphere and everything.
Right.
So I'm learning. I
Right.
didn't know this was out here.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. The manosphere. We are out here, man. Speaking of that, XL Pro says salute. Felicia Jordan, make sure that you guys hit this like button. Yes, absolutely. Hit this like button, share, and subscribe. Better Biatches, great stream. I appreciate you for showing up, coming through. Hit that like and subscribe. This content is what we need. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. LB Crypto was good, champ. Salute to you. XL Pro again says exactly. And then Better Biatches again. She says, heck yeah, man. They loving the content, man. They loving what you're saying. You know, Habla Camingo TV, man, is in the building showing love. Shout out to Toastmasters.
Yeah, Toastmasters is it was nerve wracking, but it was
Yeah,
really helpful. Really helpful.
absolutely. Let's see. Man, Infinite Growth is, man, got some
Yeah.
comments here. Education teaches the population how to become employees and how to behave in someone's dreams. Yeah. So look, actually, let me go first on this one, and then I'll hear what you have to say.
Okay.
That's basically that's basically what Executive Health and I were Julian and I were getting at, because the thing is that, like, we're just so conformed to this thing, right? We go through kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. In the middle of, like, in the middle of your sophomore year, depending on what school, you're already thinking about, what am I going to do for college? So it's like, okay, so I'm studying in this, and then depending on what you want to do, you by the time you actually are in the in the black, as far as earning, you're close, you're more closer to 30, and sometimes, depending on your field, you may be even more closer to 40. So it's like, man, like, I'm dealing with debt for at least a good 33% of my life. Is this something that I want to do? So and then what say you, Julian?
Yeah. So I think with that, what I think about is also the people that are teaching the population is I think it's a form of control also, is that you can control people with safety and comfort. A lot of this is safety and comfort. If you go get a good job, you'll get the salary, you'll be able to afford this type of lifestyle, the two cars, the house, and the garage, and all that good stuff. And so I really just think it's safety. You can preach people safety, because I remember even still now, people mention that I don't think people like uncertainty. And I think safety and uncertainty is how you can control people. People do not like uncertainty. And I think when you can teach someone how to be an employee, the idea in their head is that I'm always going to have this coming in. I can bank on that. And probably my reality check, specifically with this, is the 2008 crash and seeing how it affected both my parents on how they were both let go. Some of the hardest workers always showed up, never missed a day and everything. And then they were just let go like a Thanos snap, for the bottom line, good people. And that always stuck with me. And then I got lucky to also meet some of these people who are the owners, and just to see how they think. And that stuff changes your whole paradigm, and it really makes you think just about ownership and as ownership. And maybe you do got to go through the system a little bit, but if you have that end goal in play while you're there, that's a lot different. Being an employee, but not thinking about the end game, as opposed to just being an employee and just thinking that's going to be the end all be all.
Right. Yeah, and I agree with that, because sometimes you got to play the game to win the game, if you will, right? But if you're just playing the game just to be a pawn, but not wanting to actually win the chessboard, then it's like the redundancy comes down, and it's like, okay, my children, your children, their children, so on and so forth. So it's like, all right, like, we got to get in the game. I understand playing the game, but we got to get in the game.
Yeah, but this is the best time to do it. I mean, there's a lot, there's a lot going on in the world right now. It's very chaotic, but somebody's always wins. Always, no matter the situation, somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. And I think, why not us? Why not whoever wants to get in the game and play it? It's going to be rough right now, but a lot of people are going to be very defensive. And I'm not even just talking really finances, because I'm not really a financial expert. I'm just talking in general with like health and just life in general. A lot of people are going to be on defense. So this is a great time to, even if you do feel behind, this is the kind of messages I give myself, is that even if you do feel behind, this is a great time that you're going to be able to get ahead, because a lot of people are just going to be very defensive and clamp up with everything.
Very true. Very, very true. Again, definitely make sure that you guys are hitting the like button and subscribe. Better Beatrice, she's loving the content. Guys, please do me a favor, subscribe to Executives Health YouTube channel. He just started his channel. When did you start your channel?
If you look back, it would say 2018, but when did I actually start consistently creating some semblance of content? Probably maybe a month ago. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And so please make sure that you guys are subscribing to his channel. He's definitely going to be putting out a lot more content consistently, but definitely make sure that you guys are subscribing to the channel. Shout out to you, Felicia Jordan, for please sharing that link. Yes, it is. This is such a wonderful convo. Yes. All right. You got a new subscriber. Better be
awesome.
Honest. Yeah, man.
Thank you.
She's also a very good content creator as well. So definitely salute to you. LB Crypto says good stuff, Julian.
Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, you guys, my channel is monetized, so you can send me a Cash App or a super chat. Doesn't matter. Definitely show some love and support. Jerome, my man Jerome, good afternoon. For a private consultation, you can email me as kingsandreamspodcast@gmail.com. First time travelers, and if you are interested in traveling to Medellin, Colombia, I know you guys have heard some bad stuff, but trust me, there's a lot of good. So don't get deterred from traveling. All right.
I just heard the bad stuff. Speaking of Medellin, I just heard the bad stuff. I was like, whoa, people do that. I was like, well, I want to go there because the city looks beautiful.
Yes,
the city looks beautiful, and I saw some restaurants that interest me.
Yeah, I mean it definitely is, and so I don't want to kind of jump ahead because I did want to jump more into the
Mhm.
travel stuff, but yeah, so I'll just say this really quickly. The infrastructure when you go to Medellin, like it really looks like a metropolitan city. Like, you would almost think that, especially like where so I have an apartment there, like it's in El Poblado, right?
Mhm.
So the El Poblado area kind of reminds you of like any metropolitan city. Like I'm a New Yorker, so that I would say it kind of reminds me of New York. It's just that everyone is just speaking Spanish there, but it's very nice. The infrastructure is very modern, and Medellin is the only city out of the country of Colombia that has a metro rail. So, like, you know how when you ride like the New York City
Mhm.
subway, so it's like that, but trust me, 10 times more cleaner. So,
Thank
but
goodness.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I know. We can talk about that offline. The subway.
Man, I got a boy, I got a story for that with the subway.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Jerron says another reason why I'm leaving America because the healthcare sucks. Okay, sucks animal parts. Understood.
Yeah, it's a lot of yeah, it's very frustrating because there's so much awesome health technology available,
Right.
and but you're not going to use it. Like there's so many. Like even I couldn't necessarily go
Yeah.
get certain lab tests right now because I'm not showing signs of symptoms or anything like that. I'm not sick yet, and it's very frustrating. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a very long term project that I have in
Got-
mind for that.
Gotcha. All right. So Better Biatch says, I got to get back to work, but I'm going to finish watching this later because this is the kind of streaming we need. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you for stopping through. Thank you so much. Definitely make sure you guys get the license. So good. So good. Keeping it real with Drell. How are you doing, miss? How are you doing? Thank you for popping in. Yeah, Drell, if you can hit me on Instagram or shoot me an email. So I'm having that all ladies panel. It was supposed to be yesterday, but it will be officially Tuesday, November 29th. So I'm just waiting for Thanksgiving and all that to get out of the way. So we can have that chat with all the ladies. But definitely make sure that you guys shoot me an email or contact me on Instagram either way. And then for all your Spanish needs, subscribe to Profe Don Omar. That is my brother, man. Good content on his channel. Uh, and then again, make sure that you guys are subscribed to our guest channel, Executive Health. Just really starting to focus on putting content out consistently. So definitely make sure that you all are subscribed and checking out his channel. Felicia asked, "Are you diabetic? Is this if you're not comfortable answering that, that's
Oh
okay."
no,
But,
no, that's fine. That's fine. No,
yeah.
no, I'm not diabetic.
Okay.
Yeah, I have like in I'm not, probably won't go too much into this, but so I do like genetic reports and a lot of different other testing, and so I have a high probability to be
Okay.
insulin resistant. And basically what that means is if my lifestyle habits went off the rails, I would probably show more symptoms in the cardiovascular area, whereas some people would be more maybe cognitive neurological based or something like that. So but no, I'm good. A1C, insulin, it's all good. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So no, I get it. I get it. Some people are comfortable with answering that. Some people are
Yeah.
not. That's why.
Oh,
You
it's
know.
part. It's part of the job. Yeah, it's part of
Yeah.
the. Yeah, it's part of the job. So,
No worries.
yeah,
No worries.
I test myself, probably maybe every quarter or so.
Okay. So like twice a year.
No, no. For me, it's 4 times a year, but I'm into
Well, I
different
think you said
things.
every other quarter.
Oh no, no, sorry. Typically every quarter. So,
Okay. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not
Got
every. I don't do just comprehensive every time. I don't need to. But
it.
I'm into different things. Like I just got done with I just did like an age testing to test
Yeah.
biological age to chronological age and a lot of that stuff.
All right. Gotcha. Okay. All right. And then Miss Drell says, thanks, will do. Okay, perfect, perfect. All right, so yeah, so back to the conversation. I know we're closing in on the 1 hour mark, and so kind of want to jump a little bit ahead here. So you did mention like travel, right? But I want to kind of incorporate finances with travel, if you don't mind.
Mhm.
I know that you said that you may not necessarily be a financial guru, but in order for you to do what you do, you have to have some sort of financial savvy, right? So let's talk about your financial savviness, or at least what you feel comfortable speaking
Mhm.
about financial savvy. So, like with the current business that you're doing, what how do I want to answer this? Ask this rather. Okay. How long did it take for you to feel financially comfortable in your business?
Mhm. Uh, let's see. I read a book called. I don't think I'm ever comfortable. I read a book called Only the Paranoid Survive.
Hmm.
So I stay pretty paranoid in a good way. But
Right.
but as far as
Yeah, comfortable may not
yeah,
be a good word.
yeah,
I just thought about that. Like stable, if you will.
yeah.
Stable. Yeah.
So I've had different iterations. So executive health is really kind of the newest iteration of everything. So the parent company is the Art of Fitness and Life. And so I've been writing and everything for years. And I've had breaks. So probably I'm trying to think of a timeline. So I pretty much took a 3-year period. After I came back from traveling a little bit, I came back and my father got sick. So for 3 years, I put almost everything on hold. I didn't do anything that much except write. And I was still doing well then because I always had two different things going. So I could always I've helped people write a book. Um, I ghostwritten and then I wrote articles and freelance and everything. So I was always fine in terms of that. There's certain things where I don't want to be, where I want to be, but I'm not there yet because I'm continually deploying resources back into the business. So things like working on partnerships and certain providers and mentorship, getting access to people to really learn about business. So uh, I'm comfortable for where I want to be right now, but there's a whole nother level. But I also realize that if you're thinking like a startup, I'm still in an early stage, so I need to be very cognizant of what I do and everything. But I'm pretty comfortable though.
Okay. Yeah.
If
And
that
so
if that answered everything, I guess years. So I would say years. Um, for me, because there was a certain way I wanted to make money. I didn't just want to make money just to make money. So I didn't really early on, even before this executive health, and even before I really got online. I was doing really well personal training in person, but training in person, that means I have to be somewhere. And I knew long term that I did not want to just be tied to a location. Nashville might be my home base because I like living in the U.S. I think that's kind of maybe controversial to say. I like Nashville. I'll put it that way. But I also want to spend a lot of time over abroad as well. And so I would probably say maybe it kind of depends on your budget, the person's traveling. But I would say for me, I wrote a book and I remember getting my royalty check, and so probably two, 3 years, 2, 3 years. But I think if you really focus, I think a year now can do it. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. Like when I was at first, I had one account. Everything was going in one account, which is a terrible idea for a lot of reasons. Like just a horrible idea. So
yeah.
I literally had no idea what I was doing. I think for most people, if you have a pretty good skill set or whatever you're working on, or even if you don't, I I think probably a year. I think probably a year that you could at least get like what I would say like a level one, just something to keep you afloat. You might not just be balling yet, most likely, but I think probably a year for most people. I think consistent, diligent effort. I think like a year.
Yeah, well, I mean that's good, but let me rephrase the question. So what I meant was that two quick call outs. Like you mentioned not to have everything on the same account. And then
Mhm.
another thing you talked about was that you were always doing at least two things at one time. So I want to get to more of that pocket of really being able to understanding having more than one stream of income,
Mhm.
and then also being able to kind of have your money funneled through different accounts. So that's where I kind of wanted to go into.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long did it take for you to understand that?
Oh. Let's see. Probably about 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that financial savvy stuff is very recent. Very recent. We're talking probably maybe 2 years. Yeah, maybe 2 years, maybe a year and a half. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
really understanding and studying and asking the right questions. Yeah, that's recent. I can just go back and I know the mistakes now easily.
Yeah.
Easy mistakes I made with that big time.
Yeah, same. So like I would say probably within like the past like 3 to 4 years is really
Mhm.
when I really started to understand, because I thought, oh well, I could just have everything in one account, and it's like no, it's not good to have everything in one account. So
No, it's
I
not.
completely, yeah, I completely get that, right? And so now you mentioned that you've traveled. What are some of the places that you have traveled to?
Yeah, probably the highlight trip. The highlight trips was just went to London and then I went to and then I stayed in Portugal for about 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So
so I did that years ago, and then that was before, like I said, my father got sick for that gap, and then I've not traveled since
okay.
for even if I could, but it's because I want to get a lot of things in place because I have ideas about the company and what I want to do with it, and so it's better for me to stay here right now because
Understood.
that traveling looks way too fun in certain places. It looks way too
Yeah.
fun. But
All right.
and plus like there's a lot of companies, for example, in say like São Paulo in Brazil. So I'm
Mhm.
working on Portuguese. That's one of the places.
Yeah.
And there's opportunities. Maybe there's opportunities that I can go for a company there and do some work and go speak there or something like that, consult
Yep.
by doing that here. So I'm playing a longer game. But there's a marathon in São Paulo in April that I'm probably will be there for. So that'll probably be there. But back to that is London. London, I was there for maybe a week or so, I think. A few, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't remember. And then Porto. I was in Porto. I didn't even go to Lisboa or Lisbon for. I just stayed in Porto. That trip was really for me just to unwind and take my first international trip. I was just by myself. I didn't know anyone, and I
Mhm.
just wanted to escape and recalibrate life in general. Um, but that trip did a lot of good in terms of just opening my eyes to the world, and also there's a lot of things I learned there as well.
Gotcha. No, absolutely, man. And so now where does your father reside?
hmm
Where
Uh,
where, where did he reside? Sorry.
oh, everyone's in this Nashville area.
Oh no, but you said that you traveled like internationally.
Oh, yeah. So no, I traveled. So that was sorry if I misspoke. So I was abroad. So I was getting ready to start, I guess what you would say, your traveling journey.
Ah, I see.
And
Okay,
I
okay,
came home for a
okay,
pit stop and
okay.
things just happened to take a left turn.
I see.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, understood. Okay, so you went back to the States, but you were already abroad.
hmm
Understood. Okay, got it. All right. Now let me just jump back into some of these comments here. My man Primal Studies, salute. How you doing, brother? Happy Sunday, fun day. Yes, man. I am so I'm about to shut this down in a few minutes because I gotta take the youth to go see this Black Panther movie before he starts keep peeking in here. Looking at we about to leave. We about to leave. Oh man. CB passport strengthened. Hey, so Kings and Dreams, since you're a New Yorker, were you raised in a housing project somewhere in the borough of New York City before? No, no housing projects. I was in a building, so I wasn't in like housing projects. So the part of New York City I'm from, Brooklyn and area is Flatbush. So I was in a building, but no housing projects. All right. And then again, definitely make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and I appreciate you. All right, so now back to traveling. Now you mentioned with Sao Paulo, as far as you are starting to learn Portuguese and things of that sort. Now, are there any places that you think that like with once your business expands, are there like any areas that you would like to take your business to, whether it be domestic and or internationally?
So I think it will internationally, yes, it would be probably looking at partnerships. So one of the limitations right now is that I have access to order labs and all sorts of things, and it's because it's pretty much like a concierge practice, and you can't really do that abroad on certain tests right now. And so for me, when I go travel certain places, I will probably go meet with just different people and establish partnerships, or just somewhere to refer. There's a lot more people that are going to be like, even I think a lot of people that watch your content, and then a lot of the other guys, they travel a lot,
Right.
and maybe one of the things they may not do is take care of their health as much or
Yeah.
as diligently as they should. And not even just from a going to the gym type of thing. I'm talking about going to get blood workup and those kinds of things. And I would like to at least be able to recommend where to go if you're in certain countries. So say, I think Colombia is a pretty big popular spot. What doctors and who to go to for certain things, or Brazil and just areas like that. So that's super long term. That's super long term. But for now, it's getting probably phase 1, 2, and 3 going for me right now. And it's pretty good. I'll be traveling. Probably early 2023. There's a handful of spots I want to go to, and then there's some other crazier spots that I want to go to.
Would you care to expound on the spots that you're looking forward to going to in 2023?
Yeah.
Now, do you have like a list, or like do you have like a list, or do you have no? How do I want to say this? Sorry. Okay. Do you have like places planned already, or do you have like stuff that's scheduled?
No, pretty much the only thing, nothing's been officially like booked yet, but all likelihood is definitely Brazil, and going to I want to see Sao Paulo because it's a big city, sort of like, I would say I think it's been labeled like the New York of South America,
Right.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
So going there for a bit and exploring there, and then different places in Brazil as well. Going south, I know people don't talk about the South a lot because it's a little different, but I'm curious about the South as well, and going to Colombia
Okay.
as well. So I know a little salsa, not too much, but so I've always wanted to go to Cali because it's the salsa capital of the world.
Shout out to Uncle Dre,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So I learned that I learned that years ago. So
Yeah.
that's always been on there, and I want to experience like a real winter, because even that year I was in New York, it didn't snow as much. So I've always been enamored with going to like Iceland or Sweden or something like that when it's cold, and then
Yeah, you can have that.
and, I want to learn how to ski. So some of the travel is like what I would say adventure travel. So like I'm going there for like maybe to run as well. I'm going there to like learn some skiing and things like that, just to build skills as well. And so
Right.
and then if I decide to learn more languages, I will go places to where you can practice that language. But yeah, there's a lot of cool things. Like I just found out that there's people that run half marathons and marathons in Antarctica or the North Pole. That sounds pretty cool. So, sounds a little dangerous, but it sounds cool as well. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like that's I don't know. Well, yeah, never mind. I know exactly what you meant by that. But yeah, like so low key, low key, I've always like kind of like we've been intrigued with skiing. I don't know if it's something that I will end up doing, but yeah, I do like to do some things that are like a bit outside of the norm, if you will.
I'm a big James Bond fan, and a lot of the James Bond scenes.
Yeah, me too.
They got him skiing. Like The Spy Who Loved Me, the opening scene. he's skiing, does that flip,
Mhm.
and then the parachute comes out, then the song comes on. I was
Right.
like, that's awesome. But a lot of my workout playlist is really nothing but like movie scores and 007 songs, Mission Impossible, and
Yeah.
and things like that. So
Right.
I guess I'm a bit of a nerd with that. So that's kind of the reason as well.
Hey, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all, we're all a little. I don't want to. Yeah, we're all nerdy in our own way. We're all nerdy in our own way. So
Hmm.
you know what I mean. I completely get that. Yeah. So when it comes to language, so you're learning Portuguese. I assume that you want to learn, or you do learn. You do. Do you know Spanish at all, or
Just a little bit,
okay, just
a
a
little bit,
little.
a
Okay.
little bit. She has me kind of recommended me to start dabbling in that as well because it's all part of the Romance languages, and so they're similar
Yeah.
but they're different. But now when I tried to speak a little Spanish when I went out like a week or two ago,
Mhm.
and it sounds like Portuguese because even when I spoke it to her, she says it sounds like you're speaking Spanish like a Portuguese person. So I take that as a compliment. That
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, man. All right. So now let me ask you this. So for people who, let's say, they have like multiple jobs and they're not able to go to the gym or anything like that, what would be like three things that you can kind of recommend really quick for them?
Yeah, you can work out at home. You can work out at home. You can work out at home. But I would also challenge people that I think going to the gym a lot of times, not even just because of the equipment, I think it's just like a sense of accountability. So I would really challenge someone to, if you don't think you got time to go to the gym, I think you can at least carve out 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes to go to the gym. Because I think going to the gym is a sense of community and it's also accountability that you can't do at home. Well, some people can do it at home, but most people I found have not been able to because you get very comfortable at the house. You get to sitting, you get to laying down, and the last thing you want to do is start to get up. And then sometimes the workouts are just not as good. But so I would really challenge people, even if you got to cut something out, I would find time for the gym because the benefits of going to the gym extends much beyond just just physical appearances. There's mental benefits. There's if you're working multiple jobs and one of those is like your business or the thing that you're going to exit with, then there's going to be a lot of stress involved. Stress is something every day, and that exercise is going to help with that. Almost like I think I did a video recently and I said exercising pretty much is like exfoliation for a lot of frustration and worries that you got. And I so that's number one. The second one is to find some type of nutrition structure that works for you. There's so many different things that work, and I think we have a tendency to pick something that we see as trendy or that this guru or expert has has touted as what we all should do. But I really think you should start with your own psychology and knowing yourself before deciding on anything else, and then you go from there. And sure, if you have certain circumstances, if your blood sugar is pre-diabetic or if you have a little extra body fat to lose, then of course you'll have to make some modifications. But really know thyself before deciding on a plan. And what that culminates with is the philosophy that I say is to slow down to speed up at the very beginning, just to slow down, game plan a little bit, set a plan, and then you can execute much faster because you're not going to have to start and stop because you have this plan that you're going to execute with. And then a few weeks later, you can go back and look at it and see what's working and what's not. And the third thing I would look into is to adopt the mindset of being preventative instead of reactive. And if you could sum up the US healthcare system and pretty much how people in general act is most people are very reactive. So it's not a problem until it's a problem. And to be preventative, I would say something as simple as a lot of people have Apple Watches or a Whoop band or different wearables. Know some of your baseline numbers, like your heart rate and your HRV or your respiratory rate. Go get blood work as much as you can. Even if you're healthy right now, get blood work right now. So even years later, you have an idea of what baseline that you were at this point compared to older. Because somebody will say you're average or within range. I don't like that answer because I don't like just average. I think we can strive for much better than just average. So really know your numbers, and then you can work from there.
Oh man, good stuff right there. And so let me just check in with the chat really quickly again. Um Man, you dropped some gems right there, bro. You definitely dropped some gems. Gail at Night is in the building. I appreciate you. So please support Kings and Dreams channel via Cash App. Yep. And I can get super chats now. And I just want to, man, my first super sticker. Gail at Night, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the super sticker. Oh man. All right. Let's see here. CB passport strengthened. Okay, that's good. And thank goodness and thank God you were never raised in the housing projects of where you were seeing no violence and deletions that were in those type of environments. No. I never said that. No. See, I just said I wasn't. I was, I grew up in an apartment building. I didn't say that. Yeah. It's just different from a housing project because in New York City, I say that they don't have housing projects, but mainly we have the buildings. So yeah, there was a lot of violent and deletions. So yeah, I was not saying where I was like a safe neighborhood. No. Definitely not. Um, all right, definitely make sure you guys follow me on Instagram, and it's also Kings and Dreams, same way. Let's see. Yes, please make sure that you are subscribed to Executive Health. I highly appreciate him. Highly appreciate him, man. Thank you for all of this. Thank you for all of this. Oh man, Gail at Night again. Congratulations on your monetization. Yes, absolutely. And I'm gonna be having a monetization celebration, but I'm probably gonna wait until after the holidays. So probably at some point in January. Yeah, I just want to let Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's get out of everyone's system, and then I'll do it then. Or
I forgot those things are coming up. I did. Yeah. Wow. Thanksgiving's a few weeks away, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. 2 weeks. 2 weeks for Thanksgiving and 2 weeks for I mean, yeah, you might as well say like a week and a half for Thanksgiving and then Christmas and New Year's. Larry Sati, congrats, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Congrats on the monetization. That I think that shows consistency and persistence and dedication. So congrats on that.
Oh yeah, man. Definitely a lot of hard work. Man. But I'm definitely wanna get you out of here because I gotta get ready to head out to see Black Panther. But listen, bro, I just want to say I definitely appreciate you coming on. Everyone, please make sure that you guys are subscribed to Executive Health channel and just a good brother, man. But I want you to give me your final thoughts on everything that we discussed today.
Mm-hmm. Well, I stole this quote from my friend. Well, I did say stole it. I told him I'm going to borrow it because you don't really exist online that much, and so, but I always give him credit. I'll give him attribution, down the road. But it's a very simple sentence that I really try to keep myself. Two sentences is to do it for the intention, not the attention, and to be a slave to the rhythm, not the algorithm. And so I try to keep those two things in mind as when I go about creating or anything or just living life in general. I try to keep those two principles in mind, and perhaps they would be a benefit to some of the people out there as whatever stage of the journey they're in, is that just to do things for the intention and not the attention and whatever other people think you should do or what they're going to say, but to stay buckled down, stay focused on your purpose and plan.
All right. Say that, man. Thank you so much for coming through. And I definitely appreciate you. We will, we're gonna be doing this again at some point, right?
Mhm.
Definitely gonna be doing this again. So you are not gonna be a stranger to the channel. You are officially a friend to the channel.
Well, I
Uh,
appreciate it.
yeah, no, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for coming through on a Sunday. Julie and I, we have been trying to plan this for a while, so I just wanted to, I wanted to knock this out because I know that we were going to have a strong and impactful conversation, right? So the thing is that taken away from this conversation, when you have something that you set your mind to, even if you're nervous or if you have self-doubt, just find it within yourself to believe in yourself. And even if people are not going to go along or respect what you're doing, just as long as you believe in yourself, keep pushing forward. Keep pushing forward. There may be some dark days, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to keep grinding. And when it comes to taking care of your mind, body, and spirit, you got to take care of all three. Even one day at a time, one day at a time. But at least, keep that train moving forward. Shout out to all of my moderators that came through. Gail came through. Better Beatrice came through. Felicia, Jordan, everyone in the chat, especially my guest, Executive Health. Make sure that you guys subscribe to his channel. I am out. I'm about to take my son and we're about to watch this Black Panther movie. So I appreciate y'all. Stay purposeful, and I'm out of here. Thank you.